Welcome. We're going to wait one more second just so everybody can be organized backstage, organized in the webinar. But I appreciate you all being here today for our webinar. Just hold on one more second. Make sure everybody is in the right place. Okay, here we go. Welcome to this webinar brought to you by Dutchie and our friends at the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce. This is the first in a series of webinars that we're producing together under the broad rubric of Strategies for Profitability. We have a great program slated for today, and we're glad you're here as always. My name is Jay Rosenthal. I produce content here at Dutchie, and I'll help kick things off today's program and keep things moving on stage and make some introductions and drive conversations along the way. And here's what we have for you. First, we're going to have Polly Jalett from the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce for a brief welcome and a bit about the chamber and why you should be involved. Then we'll dive into the meat of the program, where I'll pepper a widely regarded expert in the cannabis business finance with a series of questions. That's the segment with Rachel Wright from Verdant Strategies and 420 CPA, also known as the segment Why You're Here and want to pay closest attention to, because she's sure to drop mission critical knowledge for your business. Then we'll wrap up with Alex Hales, Dutchie's VP of Product, to talk about the how and why Dutchie's technology can be an integral part of running a profitable business. I'll be adding notes and links in the chat to your right. We won't be taking any Q&A, but only because if you have questions specifically about your business, we encourage you to reach out to the speakers directly so that they can get honest feedback, give honest feedback without other onlookers from this webinar. Not that we don't like other onlookers, but we don't want you to divulge any sort of proprietary financial information. I'll put about notes in the chat about how to get in touch with everybody you hear from today. And if you miss anything today, we are recording this event and we'll send a link to the on-demand version of the event probably tomorrow. So don't worry about keeping good notes or even any notes if you don't want to, because you will get a full rundown of the program probably tomorrow. And with that, it's more than enough from me. Let's get to the folks you actually want to hear from. First, it's my pleasure to welcome Polly Jalett, the Membership and Marketing Lead at the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce. Polly, thanks for being here. Over to you.
Hello, and welcome to Strategies for Profitability, hosted by the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, powered by Dutchie. My name is Polly, and I am the Marketing and Membership Coordinator here at the Chamber, and we are thrilled to be partnering with Dutchie for this series. Our mission is simple but powerful. We bring together professionals from licensed operations and ancillary service providers to create impactful connections that drive success across the cannabis industry. As a member, you'll unlock exclusive benefits like our member-only networking mixers, insightful webinars, and educational events, all tailored to open new doors and help you grow your business. Our social media presence amplifies your reach, ensuring that your voice is heard in this ever-evolving space. And finally, we work closely with our members to advocate for business policy reform to ensure that we're having a voice in shaping the future of cannabis. By becoming a member, you're not just accessing these special resources, you're becoming a part of a thriving community and collective voice that values collaboration and innovation at every level of the cannabis ecosystem. For more information on membership, joining a chapter, or creating your own, please visit our website at thecannabischamber.com/membership or send us an email at info@thecannabischamber.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Polly. And if you aren't already a chamber member, I encourage you to become one. I put a note in a link about how to do that on the right-hand side of your screen. So we encourage you to take a look, see their offerings, see their benefits, and join up. Now, for the meat of our program, it's my pleasure to welcome up Rachel Wright, the CEO of Verdant Strategies and 420 CPA. She is a longtime leader in the cannabis sector and someone who's helped cannabis businesses in California specifically chart the path to profitability. Give me 2 seconds to bring Rachel from backstage onto this stage while I will pepper her with questions. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to this rapid fire and drilling you with questions, if that's okay.
Please drill away.
Drill away. We're going to get people nice and ready to run profitable businesses. Let's go to question one. You have a deep background in the cannabis sector. What are the 3 things you bring to the sector that you think that would be helpful for cannabis companies building a profitable cannabis business that you have?
Sure. So I would say no matter what kind of financial professional that you have, first, make sure you have a financial professional. Okay. And this is not just an administrative person in your office who became a bookkeeper over time and then took an H&R Block tax course. I would also suggest probably don't go to your corner CPA who doesn't know anything about cannabis. Make sure you have a professional that takes care of you, that knows cannabis, that has gone through a mature market, so to speak. Also, someone that will coordinate with all the rest of your team. So if you need an attorney, you need to pull an attorney in for an M&A transaction, for an IP, whatever. You have to make sure that the person you're working with is well networked and will also make sure there's collaboration across all departments. So I think that's really, really key. That you have to have a team player. So that is what my segment of what we bring to the table is making sure that there's coordination. And I'm obviously going to focus on the finance, tax side of things. Everybody has a holistic picture. Obviously, Dutchie has a holistic picture of what you bring to the table with data integrity and many other things, but I'll focus primarily on finance and tax, of course.
Awesome. And what are some of the things, we're going to start on the positive and get to some things that could probably be improved. But on the positive side, what are some of the key things that you see cannabis businesses, especially retailers, doing right that maybe they should double down on?
Yes, yeah, so I'd say that having very educated staff, great customer service is always key. Because at the end of the day, I think that customers are looking for an experience. That's the reason why they go to a dispensary as opposed to eventually, maybe a CVS. I would say that it's that customer experience that people crave. It's that connection. It's the sense of a local, friendly face. You can walk into a dispensary just like you walk into your local coffee shop and you know somebody. So they're doing that right. Generally, the environment is set up in a really aesthetically beautiful way and hopefully welcoming and educational.
Absolutely. And then we'll sort of switch gears a little bit. What are some of the key things that cannabis businesses, especially retailers, could be doing better, or I guess must be doing better in order to build a profitable business? That's a pretty broad question, but one I'd love to sort of get your take on.
Yeah, definitely. So right now, especially in a more mature market, efficiencies are really, really key. So focusing on top line revenue, I think is really important. There's a lot of deep discounting going on, and I think that without strategy is a mistake. So we must look at the top line. When I say top line, that means gross revenue, ideally net of tax. We don't include tax in gross revenue. And what affects gross revenue? Discounts, retention, attraction of customers. So that's your first top line. That's what you want to focus on. And then you also want to focus on your gross profit margin. What does it cost? Which SKUs are you providing? So those are the first two lines in kind of a more mature market people need to focus on. I think what's going on is a lot of retailers don't really realize that the deep discounting is actually damaging the market. Some people don't know any other way out. And I suggest that there's actually many ways out of it, but strategy must be in place to do that.
It's not just discounts willy-nilly.
Right. And what kind of customers are we attracting? Are we actually trying to attract the right customers? Are we attracting, bargain shoppers? So I ran into somebody the other day, actually, a beautician I was talking to, and I said, "Oh, you go to different dispensaries?" She's like, I said, "Do you have any loyalty to any dispensaries?" And she said, "No, I just go wherever the best deal is." I said, "Oh, well, okay." And I started asking her some questions to understand why. And it's because she only has a certain amount of money in her pocket at the end of the day, and she wants to go and get the biggest bang for the buck. On the other side of it, I talked to a very seasoned professional in the cannabis industry who also goes to a bunch of dispensaries as well. And there was a dispensary that she told me that she will no longer visit anymore because when she walks in with $150, she gets way less. So what's that balance?
Right.
What are people
Right.
paying for? And what's the value in what they're paying for?
And it even goes back to staff, like assessing who those people are when they walk in the door and how you sell to them, provide them service is super critical, obviously, as all these answers are going to sort of blend together. Here's one more about financial management for cannabis businesses. So obviously you focus on the financial management of these types of businesses. And let me caveat this by there's certainly no cheat code to do these things right. But if there was a skill set or set of skills that you think would benefit cannabis businesses, I guess maybe even the owner, operator, manager, what would those skill sets be? And are they learnable? Even though they're going to need financial professionals on board, are there some things like 101 that a business owner should know sort of from day one?
Yeah. I mean, financial kind of 101. First, all I've got to say is a lot of the people that I've run into in the cannabis industry are among the hardest working people that I've ever met. You know, there's controllers of companies that I can call on the weekend. And frankly, sometimes I can't even call some of my own staff on the weekend. You know, so they're so dedicated. It's tremendous. As far as like financial acumen, there's a lot of common sense that people need to trust their own intuition. So you don't need 3 letters, CPA, or any other credentials or letters to have a huge financial acumen. I mean, we spend money every day ourselves, right? We know that if we rack up a credit card, we've got to pay it down. It's not free money. So I would say first, trust your instinct. That is the biggest thing, because business owners and staff, when I go to talk to them, they had an indication or inkling that something was going on that wasn't right. They actually had a very good idea of what it was. They may have needed a financial professional to help them kind of fine tune what it is. But I would say, you know, trust yourself. That's one thing. But also, and I'll allude to Dutchie as a software, you know, when I work with dispensary owners, I try to empower the store managers to have a certain set of data reports that they run on a regular basis. Okay. And so looking at product SKU profitability, product profitability by category is another thing. And also watching their inventory turns, expiration dates. There's certain, you know, amount of reports that they should be running on a regular basis. Also helping to determine their product mix and things like that. So I would say that you don't necessarily have to have a financial background. Some of it is very, very common sense. Trust yourself. Figure out which key reports that you need to run them on a regular basis, spend some quiet time and look at it. And then if you need help analyzing or determining which reports you need, let us know. Let the Dutchie team know. Try to determine a cadence of reporting that you're going to look at.
Yeah, and I know Alex Hales is listening backstage, our VP of product. We're going to make sure he talks about that at the end of this program. So that's a good lead into him. So thinking specifically, next question, thinking specifically about California operators, and from a non-California person perspective, it seems like California always has shifting regulations, both related to operations, like I guess now adding cafes as possible, to new taxation regulations. Like, how are cannabis operators, how can they prepare, I guess, for the unexpected? And is that even possible?
Yeah. Preparing for unexpected, that's very difficult. I would just say operate as is right now. In California is very, very unique. There's a tax on tax on tax. And so first, making sure your software is programmed properly is really key. So I would argue a lot of people say that 280E is the big problem. Not in California. In California, it's tax on tax on tax. Now, there was a Senate bill that was just passed by Gavin Newsom that eliminated basically localities from including excise tax in their gross receipts. That's actually huge. That's huge for a lot of people, because what that means is the cities can't collect tax on the excise tax. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal. It's actually a very big deal. When you have a state that has 3 layers of tax, you know, so, and then I hear from a lot of people, they're waiting for rescheduling for this relief. Well, it might happen, it might not happen. That's one thing is when you've been in this industry long enough, you know you can't count on anything. And if you count on something, there's, the government giveth, the government taketh away. So they're going to give us something, they're going to take something away. So this is not going to be the saving grace of your business. It may open up capital markets and things like that. There might be a little rush there, but operate as is right now. Also, what I would say is there's definitely some good forces in California fighting some of these regulations, like the excise tax 3802 regulation. People need to come together, and this is a co-opetition kind of model in California. That's where we're at. The industry needs to come together and, tactfully, but come in force and, make their voices heard on one issue at a time.
I like it. Here's something, the final question here. How do the needs of this is important for sort of startup to sort of growth to mature. How do the needs of cannabis businesses from a financial perspective change from early startup stage to more mature stages of the business? And are there things you should be doing from day one that you'll need and day, 700 that you can start very early? How do the needs change from a financial perspective from a business?
Yeah, I'd say the needs change depending on the market that you're in, right? So the more mature of a market that you're in, the less your dollar is going to go. Depends on supply chain economics issues, such as that. Depends. So cannabis is a very localized issue business. You can be in one city in California, and you could be in the next town over, and you could be killing it. In one city, you could be drowning because there's 28 licenses around you, for example. Whereas you could be in the next city, and there's literally you're the only show in town. So it depends on how many licenses are in the area. It depends on, how many dispensaries can be supported by the population, or if you're near a freeway. So now, did I answer your question?
No, but I think you actually did something even better in that you sort of set a framework that I'll quote my old friend, not an old friend, but Tip O'Neill, the old Speaker of the House from Massachusetts. He said all politics is local, but what you're suggesting is also all cannabis is local, and the local could be hyper local, right? It could be street by street, town by town, city by city, especially in California, in a more mature market where geography and regulatory environment can be very specific to that on-ramp even.
100%. And I'd just say, comparing new and older markets. So what does a newer market need to do as opposed to a more mature market? Well, a new market is obviously educating yourself about the industry, which this industry is very, very good at. I've never met such professionals that come in, researching the industry, and they become by nature not attorneys, but everybody needs to be a jack of all trades, especially when you're starting your own small business. And so it's kind of a fast on-ramp. So I would say make sure you have your team around you, all of your professionals. You have your attorney, you have your accountant, you have your software picked out, right? Your POS, ERP, you have your HR professionals, you have your payroll services. This team that you come in with, it is a very important team for setting the foundation.
Love it. That is super helpful. Rachel, I want to get you back to your very busy time helping cannabis businesses do their thing. Thank you for making time today, and we'll connect with you maybe during a future webinar as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thank you again, Rachel. Always good to see you, sit down with you, even if virtually. And finally, please welcome up Alex Hales, Dutchie's VP of Product. And that means he knows Dutchie's product better than nearly anyone else. And as you may have heard, Dutchie 2.0 rolled out earlier this month, and Alex is one of the brainchilds behind it. So Alex, take it away. And I know we heard what Rachel's segment was all about, so I'm sure he'll touch on that too.
Thanks, Jay. Excited to take a few minutes to talk about some of the things that we've been working on here at Dutchie to really help retailers in the cannabis industry build more profitable businesses. And for us, the starting point is really the data. At Dutchie, we have this very deep and robust data because we are able to stitch together these key data points across your online ordering, your in-store customer experience, loyalty and marketing, and all the demographics about who those individuals are and how they're shopping at your stores into our newest Reporting 2.0 suite with some of the really important and critical data points and insights to make sure that at a glance you understand exactly how your business is performing and can very easily, with 1 or 2 clicks, dig into the areas of the data that really need your attention. And so whether that's trying to understand how your business goes from its gross sales to its net sales to the total income, where you're losing value because of discounting, returns, fees to third parties, being able to understand all that information, not only for the sales, but also for your inventory and your bud tenders and your labor, is critical to running and managing a successful business in the space. One of the reports that we just rolled out recently that I'm super excited about is our new inventory performance report, where retail managers, district managers, CEOs and executives can very quickly understand what are my highest and lowest margin products. What are the brands or SKUs or categories that are being over discounted or under discounted relative to what I would have expected, and can then look at that at a store level, at a bud tender level, and really start to understand which are the products that are making and breaking the profitability of my business, and how do I make sure that I'm ordering more or less of the things that matter most. Our new view on days of inventory in hand is a great way to see that, where you can not only sort and understand what are the high and low margin products, but how many days of inventory do I have given how much I've sold in the last 15, 30, 45 days, and how far back you want to look is totally in your control. So that Dutchie is just putting the right information and the right insights in front of you at the right time so that you can make the right decisions for your business. We've then started taking all that data and packaging it up into our new personalization engine. Dutchie has invested a ton of time in being able to unlock the power of that data through our proprietary one-to-one personalization engine, so that each customer that shops online or in store is presented with the products that they are most likely to buy at the highest price point that they are willing to pay. And so making sure that you're not only maximizing every in-store or online interaction by driving those customers efficiently through your conversion funnel, but also making sure that the products that are in their cart are really maximizing on their willingness to pay. And so you sort of get the ability to capture the full price efficiency curve, where every individual has a different set of preferences, a different level of income, and is willing to spend a different amount. And so being able to leverage the data that exists within Dutchie to drive that online and in-store experience has been critical. And one of the things that we're super excited about in H1 is taking that personalization engine and bringing it directly into the discounting strategy. So we're able to dynamically update your online shopping experience to promote the right discount for that customer, if there is a right discount for that customer. We all know that there are customers shopping at our stores that don't need a discount and would have paid the same amount, but we don't know who they are. With Dutchie, you're able to leverage the deep data that we have to answer that question and make sure that customers aren't being discounted any more than they need to capture that sale with the largest number of products in the cart at the highest price points that they're willing to pay. And so we're really just getting started on the personalization front. And like I said, for running a successful, profitable, growing cannabis business, at the end of the day, it all comes back to data. And at Dutchie, we have the most robust data set in the industry, and we work really hard to take that data and unlock the insights and the information to help you be more successful. It's one of the things that I love about working at this company and love talking to customers about. So for me, that's really what it all comes down to is, not only having good first principles, which Rachel and others have talked about, but being able to bring that into action. with the new features and functionality that we have here in our product. So with that, thank you all for the time, and I'll hand it back to Jay.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Rachel. And thank you, Polly, from way up top of the program. As I mentioned, this has been webinar 1 in a 5-part series, the rest of which you will hear about. But the next webinar is next week, and you'll be getting an email with all the details about webinars 2 through 5. But we can't wait to see you back here next week. And on behalf of the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce and Team Dutchie, thank you all for being here, and have a good and safe afternoon.